Hey everyone, welcome back, where we dive deep into the latest General Hospital spoilers, breaking down every twist, turn, and emotional moment. Today we have a particularly heartbreaking story to discuss: Charlotte's return to Port Charles to say goodbye to her beloved mother, Lulu. In this episode, we'll explore the emotional impact of Lulu's death on the residents of Port Charles, Charlotte's journey back home, and what this means for the future of the show. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on your favorite soap. Let's get started. The return of a loved one is always bittersweet, but when that return is for a funeral, it's a moment filled with unimaginable grief and sorrow. Charlotte's return to Port Charles for Lulu's funeral is one such moment, a heartbreaking homecoming that will resonate with fans of General Hospital for years to come. Today we'll walk you through Charlotte's emotional journey, the impact of Lulu's death on the residents of Port Charles, and what this tragic event means for the future of the show. Prepare yourselves, because this is going to be an emotional roller coaster. To truly understand the gravity of Charlotte's return, we need to start with the event that triggered it: Lulu Spencer's untimely death. Lulu was a beloved character, not just to the residents of Port Charles, but to fans around the world. Her loss is a devastating blow, and today we're going to delve into how this tragedy unfolded. Lulu Spencer has been a central figure in Port Charles for years. She was known for her fierce loyalty to her family, her resilience in the face of adversity, and her unyielding love for her children. Lulu's journey was marked by incredible highs and devastating lows, but through it all, she remained a pillar of strength for those around her. Tragically, Lulu's story came to an abrupt end. After enduring a traumatic brain injury, Lulu fell into a coma that left her fate uncertain. Her family and friends were left to hope and pray for her recovery, but as time passed, it became clear that Lulu might never wake up. The decision was made to move her to a long-term care facility, a decision that weighed heavily on everyone who loved her. Lulu's passing is a reminder of how fragile life can be, even for someone as strong as her. The news of her death has sent shockwaves through Port Charles, leaving everyone to grapple with the loss of a woman who touched so many lives. And now, as the town prepares to say goodbye to Lulu, Charlotte is returning to pay her final respects to the mother she loved so dearly. Charlotte's return to Port Charles is a moment filled with heartache and pain. As she prepares to say goodbye to her mother, Charlotte must confront the reality of a world without Lulu. This homecoming is not just a return to a familiar place. It's a journey through grief, memories, and the bond between a mother and daughter. Charlotte's decision to return to Port Charles wasn't an easy one. After Lulu was placed in long-term care, Charlotte had been living away from Port Charles, trying to find some semblance of normalcy in a life turned upside down. But when the news of Lulu's passing reached her, Charlotte knew she had to come back to the place where her mother had made so many memories, both good and bad. The decision to attend her mother's funeral was fraught with emotion. Charlotte had to prepare herself not just for the grief of losing her mother, but for the memories that would inevitably come flooding back the moment she stepped foot in Port Charles. This return is a pivotal moment for Charlotte, marking the beginning of a new chapter in her life, one without her mother. As Charlotte arrives in Port Charles, she is met with an overwhelming wave of emotions. The familiar sights, sounds, and faces bring back a flood of memories, some happy, others painful. Walking through the town, Charlotte is reminded of the life she once had with her mother and the moments they shared. One of the most poignant moments of Charlotte's return is her visit to the home she once shared with Lulu. Standing in the doorway, she is hit with the realization that her mother is truly gone, and that this home, once filled with laughter and love, will never be the same again. It's a moment of profound loss, but also one of deep reflection as Charlotte grapples with the reality of her mother's absence. Lulu's death has not only affected Charlotte, but the entire town of Port Charles. As the news of her passing spreads, we see how each character is impacted by the loss of someone who meant so much to them. Let's take a closer look at how Lulu's death is affecting the residents of Port Charles. The day of Lulu's funeral is one of the most emotional moments in recent General Hospital history. It's a day filled with tears, memories, and heartfelt goodbyes as the residents of Port Charles come together to honor Lulu's life. Let's take a closer look at this poignant event and the emotions it evokes. The funeral service for Lulu is held at the church where so many other significant moments in Port Charles have taken place. The church is filled with family, friends, and loved ones who have come to pay their respects and say their final goodbyes. The atmosphere is heavy with grief as everyone gathers to honor the memory of a woman who meant so much to them. The service begins with a touching eulogy delivered by Laura, who speaks from the heart about the daughter she loved so dearly. Laura's words are filled with both sadness and love as she recounts the many memories she shared with Lulu, the laughter, the tears, the moments of joy and sorrow. It's a powerful reminder of the deep bond between mother and daughter and the pain of losing someone so beloved. Dante also speaks at the service, sharing his own memories of Lulu and the life they built together. Although their marriage ended, Dante's love for Lulu never wavered, and his words reflect the deep respect and admiration he had for her. Dante's eulogy is a poignant reminder of the love that remains even after a relationship ends, and the lasting impact someone can have on your life. As the service continues, other friends and family members share their own memories of Lulu. Each story, each memory, adds another layer to the portrait of a woman who was strong, compassionate, and deeply loved by those around her. The funeral is a testament to the impact Lulu had on the lives of others, and a reminder that her memory will live on in the hearts of those who loved her. The funeral concludes with a final goodbye at Lulu's graveside. As the casket is lowered into the ground, there is a collective sense of loss and sorrow. This is the moment when the reality of Lulu's death truly sinks in, and the grief that has been held at bay throughout the service comes rushing to the surface. For Charlotte, this is the most difficult moment of all. Standing at her mother's graveside, she is overwhelmed by the weight of her loss. The memories of her mother, her smile, her laugh, her comforting presence flood Charlotte's mind as she says her final goodbye. It's a moment of profound pain, but also one of deep love, as Charlotte honors the woman who gave her life. The days and weeks following Lulu's funeral are a time of deep reflection and mourning for the residents of Port Charles. As they cope with the loss of someone who was such an integral part of their lives, we see how each character processes their grief and begins to move forward. For Charlotte, the days after the funeral are some of the most challenging she has ever faced. Returning to a life without her mother is a painful reality, one that she struggles to accept. But with the support of her family and friends, Charlotte begins to find a way to cope with her grief and move forward. One of the ways Charlotte honors her mother's memory is by continuing the work Lulu started. Whether it's through her own career aspirations or by keeping her mother's spirit alive in her daily life, Charlotte finds solace in knowing that Lulu's legacy will live on. It's a powerful reminder that even in death, those we love remain with us in the choices we make and the lives we lead. The residents of Port Charles are also dealing with their own grief in the wake of Lulu's death. For Laura, the loss of her daughter is a pain that will never fully heal. But with the support of her family, she finds a way to keep going, knowing that Lulu would want her to continue living her life to the fullest. Dante is also grappling with his grief, trying to balance his responsibilities as a father with his own need to mourn. The loss of Lulu has left a void in his life, one that he knows will never be filled. But with his children by his side, Dante finds the strength to keep moving forward, knowing that he must be strong for them. The friends and colleagues who knew Lulu are also finding their own ways to cope. Whether it's through work, spending time with loved ones, or simply taking each day as it comes, everyone is trying to find a way to move forward without Lulu. It's a process that takes time, but with the support of one another, they know they will eventually find a way to heal. Lulu's death marks a significant turning point for the residents of Port Charles. As they begin to move forward, we can't help but wonder how this loss will shape the future of the town and the lives of those who remain. Lulu's death will undoubtedly have a lasting impact on the storylines of General Hospital. As the characters cope with their grief, we can expect to see new alliances form, old wounds reopened, and unexpected twists as the residents of Port Charles navigate this new reality. For Charlotte, this could be a catalyst for significant character development. The loss of her mother will likely force Charlotte to grow up quickly, taking on new responsibilities, and perhaps even new challenges, as she tries to fill the void left by Lulu. We could see Charlotte step into a more prominent role in Port Charles, perhaps even following in her mother's footsteps in some way. Dante's storyline will also be deeply affected by Lulu's death. As he navigates life as a single father, we could see him struggle with his grief while trying to provide stability for his children. This could lead to new conflicts, both internal and external, as Dante tries to balance his own needs with those of his family. And then there's the impact on the broader community in Port Charles. Lulu's death could serve as a catalyst for new storylines, with characters reacting in unexpected ways to the loss of someone they loved. We could see new relationships form, old grudges resurface, and the dynamics of the town shift in the wake of this tragedy. That wraps up our deep dive into Charlotte's emotional homecoming and the impact of Lulu's death on General Hospital. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with your fellow GH fans, and subscribe to our channel for all the latest updates and analyses. We want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Charlotte's return and Lulu's death? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time for another episode breakdown. Until then, stay safe and keep watching General Hospital.